hundreds of different business support programs, grants and other opportunities. No matter what type or size of business you have, even if it's just an idea, and no matter how long you've been in the UK or what business experience you've got, you will be able to find some support for your business, something which you must keep an eye on so as not to miss any opportunities. Welcome to this webinar covering some key information around the topic of business support. I'm Jennifer Thomas. I'm the Area Manager at the Federation of Small Businesses for Leicestershire, Northamptonshire and Rutland. I've been doing this job for 9 years and I have spoken to thousands of business owners about hundreds of different business support programs, grants and other opportunities. But I chose this topic for you today because running a business can also be challenging. You may feel you're on your own and you may not have the knowledge or time to know where to look for support to make it easier. No matter what type or size of business you have, even if it's just an idea, and no matter how long you've been in the UK or what business experience you've got, you will be able to find some support for your business. There's a lot out there, but it can be difficult even for people who've been in business and in the UK for years to understand what's available and where to look. With the Spring Education Society, we've pulled together a few people that we know who are involved in delivering business support from Leicestershire, where we're based, but also from around other parts of the UK, like Manchester and Milton Keynes, and also specific projects which help migrants, women in business, people from universities and councils. So before we dive right in, I will say that funded business support, that's free business programs paid for by the government, are changing all the time. So it's something which you must keep an eye on so as not to miss any opportunities. So we are the Federation of Small Businesses and Self-Employed, but FSB for short. We've been around for 50 years and are the UK's largest business group with 150,000 members, all individuals, self-employed or small business owners. We campaign and lobby government on behalf of small businesses to make things as fair and equal as possible so that businesses can do their very best, no matter how big they are. But we also offer our members a wide range of business support services. So this includes legal advice, business documentation, insurance, contracts, as well as helplines for legal, employment, health and safety and tax questions. So all that advice is at the end of the phone, or it's online, or it's insurance products. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but as well, I've put some nice pictures here because we also regularly run local and national networking sessions and business events. I've also produced a webinar giving some top tips for networking, and I hope you'll get a chance to watch that too. First, let's give you a bit of context and motivation. This is Abdul Sheel, a refugee turned social entrepreneur who was named the UK's Young Entrepreneur of the Year a couple of years ago at the FSB's Celebrating Small Business Awards, the most high-profile event of its kind nationally, with more than 3,000 entries, which showcases the best of small business entrepreneurship in the UK. Abdul first came to the UK from Somalia with his family under asylum seeker status in 2001 and settled in West London. Abdul went on to build his social enterprise, Sahan Cares, in 2012 with a vision to give back the support he received to the community. All of his employees are from a refugee background. Abdul took his business from a start-up to a high-growth business with more than £1.8 million in annual revenue. A knowledge of business support options is really important for new arrivals to the UK because it can help them overcome their unique challenges and unlock opportunities for starting or maintaining your business. Here are a few reasons why this business support area could be important for you. Firstly, finding access to funding and resources. Now, everybody needs finance for their business. There may be some grants available and other resources which are given out for free to try and help local businesses survive. So there could be all sorts out there which you can use, which saves you investing your own resources or gives you that boost that you need. Secondly, understanding local business practices, taxation and regulation. Now, these aren't very exciting sometimes, but they're really important. And if you get this wrong because you assume that the regulations and rules in the UK are the same as another country where you've operated, then you could have big problems down the line. So it's very important to understand what's expected of you, what you want to try and avoid, and who can help you to do that. Overcoming language and cultural barriers could be something which business support is designed to help you do, or it could just be a nice result of getting involved in some of that business support, getting to know the local culture a bit more and seeing where you can add value. And perhaps your own culture can be your unique selling point and something which local people and businesses in the area are really interested in getting involved with. Building networks builds on from that. Networking and your business networks are so important. It's not just about your suppliers and your clients, but your friends and peers in the business community, your competitors, seeing what they're doing, seeing what's working for them and what opportunities there might be for you. And also, business networks and business communities contain a lot of business support organisations and professionals who are looking to help you. Gaining skills and ideas also builds on from that. Being able to take part in training, hear talks, and hear about the latest in what's happening in your industry, your sector, or your local community can add an enormous amount of value to your business. Finally, confidence. I know it can be very difficult for anybody, even myself, when you're going out and about in the local business community, trying to meet new people, trying to put forward your case about what you want to achieve, either with your startup or your existing business. And having confidence is something which you can put forward and you can feel within yourself, but also it's something which other people give you. So you need to be out there meeting other businesses in the community, taking advantage of business support and making sure that you are confident in your business offer and that you are confident talking about it and where you can go locally and who you want to talk to. Because at the end of the day, we want to start businesses to make money, but also to enjoy. There's no point running a successful business if you're miserable. So confidence and happiness is what we all try and seek through running a business. Let's hear direct from one of our interviewees, Cynthia Ganaspanchan, who runs business support programs and services for people in her community who would most benefit from support, including startups, new arrivals to the UK, and women.
My name is Cynthia Ganaspanchan. I'm the founder of the Cynthia Trust and also a director of She Inspires Global Limited, a social enterprise supporting women into entrepreneurship. I set up She Inspires in 2018 because I identified a gap to support women who are in the startup process of their businesses, because there's quite a lot of support out there for growth. But working with women over the years, I understood that if women want to get into business, especially women from different ethnic groups or like the older women and who's sort of moving into a business, if they wanted to set up, there was very little support out there. And hence, I set up She Inspires. And to date, we have supported a number of women locally, but also I work with women in other parts of the world who wants to set up and grow their businesses or community organizations. So I think when I speak about challenges here, I'm focusing on challenges that startups face when they are trying to set up a business. No matter whether you are a woman or man, when you're trying to set up a business, there can be many challenges. One is the lack of support, because increasingly due to government cuts to funding, the closure of infrastructure organizations that's supporting people into business. So there's very little support out there. Equally, not knowing where to find the support can also be a challenge, because we look to organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Federation of Small Businesses, which are traditional organizations that are supporting people into business. But if you don't know beyond that, then that can be a challenge. Lack of funding can be a challenge. So for many people, finding funding to set up your business, you might have a nice bright idea, but if you don't know where to look for money and how to find the money to start up, that can be a challenge. Also, if you're a woman, then sometimes the lack of confidence or the not having experience of running a previous business. So there are a number of things that can be challenging for when people think of starting up a business.
So first, let's talk about where you can find business support. Technically, business support just means support which helps your business run smoothly and successfully. It can come from your own staff, expert professionals in your business community, professional bodies like the FSB, and government-funded programs and initiatives which aim to boost businesses and the economy with targeted support, such as enabling more businesses to export or invest in new machinery. It goes without saying that there are some excellent professionals out there, if you're able to pay. Whether an accountant or specialist consultant, most really know their stuff and will be able to give you top-notch advice and services. Many FSB members are such experts and have years of experience of helping businesses. If you're able to pay them to get the results you want, then it will be in their interests to do their best for you. They're often found on LinkedIn, through word of mouth, and at local business events. Meet a few, chat to them about what they can do to help you. And ask around who comes recommended, but make sure that these are real recommendations. So in particular today, I'm going to focus on these two other points, on the government-funded business support, and give an example of the support which the FSB provides for our members as a professional membership organisation. So let's talk about the different types of funded business support. These change often as programmes finish, funding runs out, and government announces new priorities and funding types. In a nutshell, the government will decide what challenges and opportunities they'd like to invest in to boost the UK economy, and this will then trickle down to local areas where it's provided to councils, private organisations, charities, universities, etc. Those organisations will have had to bid for the funding and show how they will impact businesses in the community to achieve the government's goals for the taxpayers' money. This can mean that there is often criteria which you'll have to meet, and maybe some lengthy application or survey at the end to show how you've used the support. Don't let this put you off, and do ask for help if you need it. It is there, and somebody will be happy to try and help you access this support. At the moment, there is a lot of support around things like sustainability and net zero because it's high on the government's agenda, and they recognise that businesses need support and incentives to help them make changes towards being greener. Other popular areas where there's funded support can include for ethnic minority groups, including refugees and new arrivals, but also exporting, startups, high growth or innovative businesses, rural businesses, and those which have the potential to take on new staff. Also, bear in mind that in some cases, a contribution from the business is needed. A council might offer 50% of the money to fund some machinery or improvements to your shop front, but you need to put in the other 50%. Sometimes you also would need to get a number of quotes for the item or the work to be done, and then pay for it and claim the money back, which I agree can be off-putting. Always let the council or organisation know that this is a problem. In case they can make any changes to the system, they should be listening to what businesses feedback about the support. The type of support that you should look out for and which might be on offer includes advice and signposting. This might be a business expert or someone who knows about what's available in the local area, ideally both. They can talk to you about your ideas and give tips on ways to move forward, or they might be able to direct or signpost you to different sources of specific advice, special grants, groups, etc. Look to places like growth hubs or local business support projects who have business advisors. Mentoring. This can be more structured, where you're matched with someone who has been in your position, or it's where you want to get to with your business and who can guide you. So somebody who's already done it. Check the language here. Grants, finance and funding don't mean the same thing. Grants are money which you don't need to pay back, given to businesses who fit a specific criteria. Over COVID, grants were essential to keep many businesses afloat, and the government gave out millions of pounds to help businesses survive, especially in sectors like retail, hospitality, businesses with premises who pay business rates, which are taxes on those premises. They're much less common now, but they do exist, and this is public money, so there are strings attached, and they usually centre around certain priorities, such as net zero. Funding and finance are often loans and for some specific business activity. But there's a whole world of options out there, and your circumstances will dictate how much you can get and from where. I'm not a financial advisor, but at the FSB we have a funding platform, as well as lots of online advice for anyone, so it's something to make sure you get right from the start. And always look every time you think you're going to make changes to your business. You can find local finance brokers, business advisors in your local community, or you can go to the British Business Bank, who specialise in helping businesses in the UK access financial support. Business growth programs can be delivered over the course of a few weeks, where businesses who apply to the program can show that they have a good idea or a business with the potential to grow. And you'll be offered mentoring, events, webinars, guidance, and sometimes even a grant at the end of the program to put your plans into action. Training can be fully funded, meaning you can access it for free, or part funded, meaning you pay a percentage. This could be a basic numeracy and digital skills to really technical skills, which the UK needs right now. Universities, councils and business groups all offer these in local communities in varying levels. Finally, you will see on LinkedIn, Eventbrite and business magazines that there are events being put on which are free to attend. Some of these will be free not because they're government funded, but because other organisations put them on. FSB, Chambers of Commerce, local networking groups and private firms often put on free events as part of their business support activity. Councils will run events which look at particular priority areas, such as decarbonisation, but they also run local business forums, training events and networking events to ensure that they're engaging with and supporting their local businesses. You would be very welcome at these, as anyone who puts on an event is always hopeful that people, especially new people, will come, and I am one of them. Currently, what support is available and where to look for it isn't as simple as it was a few years ago. Over the last 10 years, growth hubs have been in each area and delivering business support programs, business advisors and business events, and also listing all the different business support available across your area and listing all the events that were being put on by all the different organisations. They weren't always called growth hubs. For example, in Leicestershire, it's been called the Business Gateway, and in Northamptonshire, it was briefly called Velocity before it was changed to the South East Midlands Growth Hub and then the South Midlands Growth Hub. Now that European funding is finished, however, these growth hubs are going through a changing time. You need to look in your own area, as it will be different, but I suggest looking to see if you have a growth hub still active. So, the current place where business support funding is going to is local councils, with money from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, or UK SPF. As of November 2024, the government have confirmed an extra year of funding, meaning that we know this will remain the case until at least 2026. Some councils are bigger, better resourced and more experienced in business support than others. So you will need to have a good look at your council, how they communicate with businesses and get yourself on their mailing lists. Look at, have they got a business newsletter, social media account or a page on their website? Look through what they're offering and reach out to them or attend their events to meet them. This could be councillors, such as politicians, and also the staff from teams with names like business support, business services, economic regeneration. Look out for mention of the UK SPF, which is the funded support. You should also search online for support. This could be local, but also from national organisations where you can get online advice and support, just like you're doing now with the Spring Educational Society. The gov.uk website is packed with the links, although not always the best. It's worth looking through to get an idea. Social media is where you'll find organisations promoting the funded business support they offer and your business community who are talking about what they're going to, who they value and how they grew. Spend some time on LinkedIn looking at what the organisations around you are offering, as well as people's newsletters, the FSB's newsletter, local council newsletters and local news even. Networking at face-to-face or online is a great way to get out and meet people and catch up with everything that's going on. You may have seen our other webinar for the Spring Educational Society on the importance of networking. Take a look at that and get out there. The best way to find out how others have grown and succeeded is to ask them. They're often also keen to recommend people and business support they found useful, and maybe even to mentor you. You'll also find people who are out talking about the funded business support they offer, so you can ask them directly about it or introduce yourself to the group saying you'd like to find some good business support options, and you'll hopefully be given lots of choices by the other people at your networking group. That also goes for existing business contacts and those in your local community who can maybe get you some great business support very fast because they already have the networks and they already know you.
So like I said, there are a number of agencies out there, such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Federation of Small Businesses, where people can go for support. But if you're at the very early stages, maybe also looking at organizations such as Leicester Startup, or the local universities like the Crucible Project at De Montfort, or the Leicester Innovation Center. They have a couple of programs running, so those can be a good source. And if you're a young person, I think there's a Sir Thomas White charity that support and give grants and loans to people to set up their businesses. But also, if you're a woman and trying to set up your business, then you can always access She Inspires, where we will provide you with advice, guidance, mentoring, and some seed funding if you are eligible for it. So that they're the kind of support that is out there in Leicester. But beyond that, maybe looking at your local area and seeing whether there's enterprise development partnerships, the Chamber of Commerce. So there are different agencies and different organizations, very specific to some area. So maybe researching your wide area and see what is out there is a good starting point.
So let's talk about some of the business support which the FSB offers. We are a national organisation, and I've mentioned that we've got 150,000 members across the UK, but there are over 5 million self-employed people, small and micro businesses in the UK. So the FSB does as much as we possibly can to help all small businesses and make life as easy as possible for them to focus on what matters to them. So you will find all of these services here, which are open to anybody, and you can go ahead and use them and hopefully find plenty of support through that without needing to be an FSB member. So we have a regular newsletter which has information about what's going on with the government, business news, and what's going on in people's local areas. So take a look for that. Networking and events is something which we offer across the whole of the UK, and we have hundreds of events every year across every corner of the country, and these are online, local. Then some of them are networking, some of them are other types of events, either a training or information evening, MP roundtables, or something really specific about a local issue. So take a look on our website under the events calendar and you will find all sorts in your local area. Webinars are some of our online events which you can just come along to live and listen to some really excellent expert speakers, but we also record them and put them on our website under resources on-demand webinars, and you can watch these whenever you're ready if you'll find them useful. The online resources hub where those webinars are stored also contains articles, blogs, guides, all sorts of hubs for particular topics like sustainability, finding finance, startups and taking on employees, all written specifically for small business owners and self-employed people, and all written by either our legal experts or our business experts or our own members who have a particular expertise or experience in one of these topics. Our podcasts are very popular, and that's where you can find out some real deep dive discussions on key things at the moment. So recently it's about the new employment rights that are coming down. It might be about our reaction to the government's budget, but it could also be about specific topics like using digital technology. The last and most important thing which we do for all small businesses is the campaigning. When we are talking to government on a daily basis, we are talking about things which the government could do more of, which will help businesses to thrive and survive. And this is something which we want all small businesses to help us with. So you can get involved by coming along to some of those MP roundtables, but also sharing your experience, sharing case studies, and most importantly, taking part in our surveys, because that is where we get the really fantastic information all about what businesses are really thinking. We turn those into quality reports which are full of recommendations for government, which we can then put forward, knowing that we really are representing all small businesses in the UK. If you are a member of the Federation of Small Businesses, or the FSB, then you also have access to all of the business support services which we buy in for our members. That's why we've got 150,000 of them, because these are the most important services which businesses need to be able to run. And members join for as little as under £200 a year. If you've got no staff, it's £195 a year to be covered with things like, let's look at some of these bullet points, which are not all of them, by the way. We have 26 different business support services which we offer FSB members. But here's some of the top ones. So the first one is legal cover. Members of the FSB are already covered by a variety of different insurance products, one of which is very popular, is tax investigation. So if the government, if HMRC, the Revenue and Customs Department, decide to investigate you, that is a lot of work and a lot of expense with your accountant to be able to prove to the government that you've done all of your tax things right. It can be a real pain. So having that cover in place is very important for everyone. People can either pay their accountant separately, or if you're a member of the FSB, you already get that cover for free, which technically should cost over the course of a year. It would normally cost more than your own membership does. So that is one of our most popular business services. The next thing is the legal protection scheme, and I think this is very important if you're a new arrival to the UK. This includes legal cover, as I've mentioned, a collection of different legal covers which will make sure that you're sort of covered for what you're doing and you don't have any nasty surprises. But also it's a solicitor at the end of the phone 24 hours a day, every day of the year, when you need some legal advice. So constantly ringing them is fine if you are going through an issue, or if you've got ideas, or if you just want tips on what you can be doing, what you should be doing from a legal point of view. The quickest, easiest, cheapest way to get this legal advice is through the FSB's membership. So I would really recommend calling those solicitors and using that advice, because if you're in a local area, engaging a solicitor, that will cost you a lot of money. But the third element, as well as the legal cover and the legal helpline, the third element is the legal and online hub. So that includes online documentation, contracts, terms and conditions. Again, making sure that you've got it right. The solicitors can tell you what contracts and documentation you need, and then it's all there online for you to use with all the right language and wording, and you can personalize templates. There's letters, there's all sorts on there that you would ever possibly need, and again, hopefully save you time, money and stress. FSB members also get free business banking, which is vitally important if you're going to be bringing in money. We offer training courses through a training product, which members can also buy for their staff at a small cost every year. Each staff member has access to hundreds of very high quality training courses. Health and safety advice can be very important, whether you're running a food business, or you've got members of the public visiting you, or if you're out visiting other events and other people's businesses. Give that health and safety line a call, speak to a health and safety expert, and make sure that you are covered and that everything is as it needs to be. Sometimes when you have a contract, they will ask you if you've done risk assessments, and you can get everything sorted through those helplines. Healthcare is really important. If you're going to be running your business, you need to be in top form. So FSB's healthcare plan covers things like any physical injuries that you have, and you can use occupational health as well to make sure that you are protected and as healthy as possible. And the insurance service not only gives our members a really good offer on their business insurance, and again, you must make sure that you are covered with the right cover of insurance for your business, because you do not want this coming back and causing you problems further down the line. You will also need insurance if you are going to win certain contracts. If you're going to be coming to other people's events or delivering things, they will want to know that you've got your insurance in place. So not only do FSB members get a really good deal and often save hundreds of pounds in their insurance through using FSB insurance, but also there is an advice line. So if you're having problems with things like your car insurance or your house insurance, or if you're not sure about how to deal with insurance in the UK, you can just chat to that insurance advice line. I myself have called them about my car insurance. I don't get my car insured through FSB, but I can chat to them about what I should be saying to my insurer, why they're acting a certain way, and I can try to make sure that I am as informed as possible if I come up against a problem. We have loads of other member benefits, but those are some of the top ones which we would consider to be key for business support. Now, let's go to some people from around the UK who are involved in delivering business support, including some of my colleagues from Manchester and Milton Keynes, and some people from the Leicestershire business community who can focus on what they are offering locally. First, let's go to Gow Naik, who delivers the Leicestershire Business Advice Service on behalf of the Leicestershire councils. Now, in your area, councils will be using their UK SBF funding depending on what their local area needs and who is able to deliver it. So look out for things like a BIPC centre, which is a business and IP centre, or other local business advice services, which can give you rounded advice about perhaps what to do with your business, but also point you in the direction of other business support. Let's hear from Gal.
On the Leicestershire Business Advice Service, we have three streams. The first stream is for entrepreneurs who are looking to start a business. And there we offer one day face-to-face workshop, which goes through the fundamental things they need to be aware of when they're starting a business for the first time. And then after that meeting, there's an opportunity to have some one-to-one advice to answer any particular questions they have. The next stream is for businesses that are around a year old, maybe slightly more, where they might have started trading, but they still need further support. So for that stream, we give 3 workshops. The first one is on business planning. The second one is on marketing, and the third one is on finance. So each of those workshops are there to do a knowledge transfer, really, of the key things that people who are at that stage of their businesses really need to get to grips with to help them move forward. And then the third stream is for businesses more than a year old. So they can be just in their second year, or they can be much larger businesses that have been trading for quite a while. And for that part of the service, we offer quite a short and sharp service, usually 1 or 2 meetings. But those meetings are there to help the business owner think about the key steps and create an action plan, which will help them to take them forward. Anyone starting a business for the first time here will need to be aware of the implications of how they start, how they register a business, depending on the type of businesses they're starting. If there's extra regulation, if they need to register as a business, not only nationally and for taxation purposes, but also there might be more local rules, which means that they have to register their business as a certain type of business, like for instance, if they are doing a business associated with food, they have to register with the local council for that as well. So really, it's wide ranging. So if someone is starting for a business for the first time, it's worthwhile getting the right sort of advice so they're aware of the key things they actually have to do when they're starting a business, depending on what type of businesses they're doing. And then also the more general advice, which would be there for any type of business, which would be around things like having a USP, what makes them different from the competition, an emphasis on the marketing they do, and the way they run their finances in the business. One of the key aspects of my role as a business advisor is to ask the difficult questions, and it's really selectively asking those questions, which will really make the business owners think. So I don't necessarily have the answers to those questions, but I can point the businesses in the right direction, so they start looking at those particular aspects, and they can have an action plan. So whether that's about the way they do a sales forecast, the mix of services they're going to have in the next 12 months, if they're going to introduce something new, if they're going to explore a new marketplace, if they need to develop their own skills in terms of managing a business, or the skills of their staff, if they need to fund anything new that's happening in the business for expansion, then we'll talk about making sure they're clear why they need that money, and what will be the impact of that. Because when they go for external funding, the funders will ask them those questions. So they need to have thought about those things first, and then obviously they need to understand the different types of funding available and what's appropriate for their stage, and in terms of why they need the funds in the first place. So a wide range of things. Although they're usually short, sharp meetings, they are really meaningful and they have an impact on the business.
Next, let's go to Yvette Lamide. Yvette is an FSB member and volunteer in Milton Keynes, so she gets involved in all sorts of different business support opportunities, especially around finance and startups. But Yvette herself is a business owner, so she's out in the business community, and we asked Yvette, what is business support like in Milton Keynes?
Starting a business, people often go for a business that they've either used to do as an employed job or something that's a passion, but they don't necessarily understand everything that wraps around running a business. So, you might, an example, one of my clients and good friends is a hairdresser, which is also an FSB member, fortunately. And for her, she had no idea what to do about employment contracts. She thought she could pluck something out of the air, as opposed to all of the things that need to be included in it. So we've had to sit down and look at something like the employment contracts that she can get through the FSB legal hub. And she doesn't necessarily understand about all the intricacies that sit around it. So I was talking to her about, if your business grows to a certain size, you've got to pay VAT and what impact that will have on your business and how you price yourself. So how people actually develop their business and their business plans, they often need support for that because they've never run a business from every aspect before, because they have to be the HR person, the accountant, the legal person, the marketing, the sales, the social media, all at the same time. And very rarely do people have all of those expertise at their fingertips. And unless you can do all of those, your business isn't going to be very well supported. So access to business support is really key. And we're very lucky in Milton Keynes, and we have a growth hub there where you've got access to free business support. And it's access at the different stages of your business. It can help all the different sectors. They've got all sorts of toolkits that are available for you to use. And they will work with you on a one-to-one basis. Plus, they have a lot of learning events as well. So there's webinars available online, but they also do various networking events where there's an element of learning as well. So it gives you an opportunity to network with colleagues, other business owners, and make some business friends, which is really useful for any person in a business community, but also to learn some of the things around the marketing and social media and things like that if you don't have that experience. And we've also got something called Incubation Nation, which again also runs boot camps for people. So that's free at the point of entry for the boot camp, so that people can go and get support around all the things we spoke about earlier: business plans, marketing, social media, and so on. I would encourage people to, as we talked about earlier, Googling and finding what there is. But I would certainly look for your local growth hub, look for Inward Investment at Milton Keynes, and look for British Business Bank, as well as just looking generally at networking in Milton Keynes, because you could probably network in Milton Keynes 7 days a week, 3 times a day if you wanted to. So there is a lot of support there. A lot of it is free at the point of entry, and some of it is paid for.
So let's hear from my colleague Robert Downs, who's the area manager up in Manchester. We asked Rob what sort of business support is available and that he would recommend in his area.
So Manchester's long championed itself as one of the best places in the UK to set up and grow a business, and that's one of the reasons why actually Greater Manchester has actually a very well developed business support package, state funded business support package. There are many strands of this throughout Greater Manchester. The only problem is actually accessing so much, because there is so much on offer outside of FSB. So I'd say that the preliminary business support offer in Greater Manchester is by the Growth Hub, and the Growth Hub covers all sorts of different types of business support for different sectors, different sized businesses at varying stages of their journey. If we start off with perhaps their entry level package, it's the Enterprising You program, and this is for the smallest of business. This is helping businesses, people who aren't yet even in business, who've got a seed of an idea, who want to set up and maybe stop being employed and go to self-employed, maybe even grow the business to actually employ people. So this program is fully funded, and it really does sort of take a totally holistic view of what that new business idea is, whether it's got any legs, whether it'll work, and then it takes them through the process of actually setting up. But the Growth Hub does other stuff as well. It's a whole raft of skills and providers on tap to help businesses. So they do access to finance. They do quite a lot around sustainability, helping businesses aim for carbon reduction and ultimately net zero. They also do a lot around skills providers, helping businesses upskill their workforce, helping them find the right training courses for their apprentices, and to plug any skills gaps that business might have if they are employing people. They also do work around exporting, so helping businesses sell goods overseas and import as well. They do digital skills training, leadership courses, and management training. Plugging the gaps in businesses where they find them, and they do just more general courses as well around sales and marketing. So outside of the Growth Hub, I would probably reference the BIPC, which is the Business and Intellectual Property Centre, which is based in central Manchester at the Central Library. This again replicates certain elements of what the Growth Hub does, but it's probably aimed at the more sort of technical side of things for businesses. So how to build a website, how to get your intellectual property covered by the BIPC itself to make sure no one's going to steal your idea if you've got some intellectual property, which is really, really important actually, and very few firms take it seriously enough at the early stages. But they also take businesses through the sort of journey of growth journey, as and when they will need to start adding things into the business. So it's very much a step-by-step process. Local councils also do some kind of business support. It's not universal across Greater Manchester. There's actually a lot on offer really, and anything that, if there isn't something that they can help with, other organisations like the FSB usually can plug the gap on things like HR, legal advice, banking and all that kind of stuff. So we are pretty well covered in Greater Manchester. It's a good area to think about setting up a business. I always say to our members and new startups, one of the most important things about starting a business and doing it successfully is building in time for networking. It's networking all the way. Businesses who don't network, they're missing out on so much. You will go to networks, you will speak to, and there's so much going on in Manchester. If you're into breakfasts, lunch, or evenings, there's all catered for. A lot of it is free, some of it's paid for, but it's not expensive. But it's really, really useful for businesses to plug into their peer groups who have been there, done that journey before. Most business owners who've been around for a couple of years, more than happy to share their experience and their own journey with another fellow business owner. They're more than happy to sort of share that knowledge, as long as it's not going to involve we're going to try and take your clients away. That's the only time I've ever seen any issues. But yeah, networking is really key. It's not just about actually meeting someone at a networking event who can be your next prospect or your next client. It's actually who can they introduce you to, and maybe not even in that meeting. It might be some 3 months down the line. I remember meeting such and such who does this, and I could perhaps introduce you together. And it's also, but in networking is really important, not just to go to one event. You need to go to quite a few, build relationships, because that's what people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And you won't do that from just one networking event. You need to, it's something you do regularly as a business, whether that be weekly or monthly, but it's certainly something you should build into your business pattern, and do it certainly for a good few months to start seeing the benefits of networking. And I've seen so many businesses do well on the back of it, and the ones who do more of it actually are the most successful, I've found.
We also spoke to Ian, who's from the University of Leicester. Universities historically over the last few years have developed an enormous amount of business support programs, and they know a lot of the business community and have lots of training, research and events going on. So Ian has been telling us a little bit more about what the University of Leicester can offer.
Well, universities as a whole, there's a variety of ways they can engage with businesses and provide support. And sometimes it's around students and things like placements and internships. Some of those can be funded. Sometimes it's around courses and programs that help businesses to develop and grow, become more resilient, innovate, that kind of thing. And there's also aspects around the research that universities do and that expertise, for instance, to help businesses develop new technologies, new processes, a new business model, that kind of thing. So to start with, one of those programs is something called Help to Grow Management. And this is actually a national program managed by the Chartered Association of Business Schools. And it's available at various business schools around the UK. And it really aims to help to the senior leaders and owners in businesses to really take stock of where they are with their organisation, look at their strengths and weaknesses, map that out, look at their business model, and think about how that could be developed, how perhaps changing one part of the business model could allow them to serve more profitable markets or allow them to engage with their staff in a more effective way. And it really covers over 12 weeks on a part-time program, 4 to 5 hours a week. All the different elements of a business to give somebody a good grounding in all those different functions and also look at how those can be developed in the particular business. So it's a very focused program on practical outcomes for the business. So really that's available at lots of different business schools around the country. It is at least 90% funded, sometimes fully funded, and it would cover things like innovation, strategy, employee engagement, marketing, branding, and you would come away with a growth action plan that you'd work with a mentor on over around 10 hours to develop, so that you're in a great position to then go back to your business, talk to others, and take those steps forward. On top of that, there are general things like universities have a lot of technical, technical equipment. They have a lot of expertise in kind of data analysis and physical testing of things and product assessment. A lot of technical expertise. So there are ways in which businesses can actually draw on both that equipment that universities have available and the expertise that sits behind that as well.
So that was Ian from the University of Leicester School of Business talking about some of the ways that a university can help you. Do take a look at your local universities to see things like opportunities with students coming to help you in your business, but also events, funded business support and business growth programs, some talks from some of their experts, and they can also maybe help you with research projects and product development. So take a look at your local universities to see what you've got. Now, next we're going to go to Cynthia Ganespanchan again to find out what her business support does in Leicestershire.
With She Inspires, like I said earlier, we mainly support women. So there's mentoring, there's coaching, there's training and workshops, but also we provide some form of seed funding to organizations, to female-led startups if they want to set up their projects. So that's there. And I think, like I said, sometimes men also can face some of the challenges. So I work with new arrivals, so that's refugees and asylum seeker communities. If they want to set up their projects, we can provide training and guidance. In addition, if you're a small business, if you want any support with co-working spaces or mailbox and things like that, or meeting room space, you can always contact She Inspires and see if we are able to provide you with that help. So you can contact She Inspires through our website, which is sheinspires.org. But also we are based on number 10 Bishop Street at the She Inspires Community and Enterprise Hub, and other details are on the screen below. So you can always, if you come to us, someone will help you with that.
So you've heard an overview from me, plus some people who are helping businesses in their local communities and would love to help you no matter what stage of your business you're at, even if you haven't started in business yet. At FSB, we're always happy to help people who want to become a business owner. Let's have a quick roundup and look at where you should go from here. You're already online watching this webinar. Now do some online searching for local and national business support for your area or your particular industry and see if there's anything of interest at the moment. Look to see if there is a growth hub or a BIPC in your area or nearby, or who the main organisations providing business support are. Remember, a BIPC is a business and IP centre, and they often run out of libraries, which have a physical space as well as business books and access to really useful market research IT packages. So we heard from Gao at the Leicestershire Business Advice Service, which is being delivered by Exemplas. If your local area isn't Leicestershire, then the support will be different and delivered by various different organisations. But you're looking for business advisors, business growth programs, things around resilience, innovation, startups, grants and funding. Go onto your local council website under the business section and look for business support, business events, business funding, grants, anything like that. It should be on their website. Also look on their social media accounts and see what they're pushing out, what they've been talking about and directing businesses to get involved in. They hopefully will have some local events coming up that you can attend. These might be on things like going green, but they could also be training for a business forum. So get involved in the council support that's available and make sure you're signed up to their newsletter. Social media is where you will find different business support organisations sharing events, business growth programmes and any grants or funding announced. I really recommend that you go to networking events in your local area. They could be run by solicitors, accountants, business networking groups and organisations, business support organisations, business membership organisations like FSB or Chambers of Commerce, or councils. Don't forget, there is a webinar about getting the most out of networking, which I've also done for the Spring Educational Society, so make sure you watch that one for all my tips, because I have been running networking events for 9 years. I've seen some of the key things and tips and tricks to help you get the best of it. Make sure you're making best use of your time. Your current business contacts and your community will be full of people you may already know or have something in common with, who may be experts in what they do, have good advice or potential clients for you. So make sure you don't feel like you're doing this on your own. You are surrounded by small business owners and self-employed people and people wanting to start a business. You just need to be able to find them and have the right conversations with them and build a relationship. Bear in mind with all of this that specific business support keeps changing as the government funding changes. Everything we've talked about today is relevant, but keep looking online and checking. I've tried not to make it too specific so that as time goes on, you will still be able to find support without looking for one particular programme or one certain name, because they do change and they will change again. Once you know people out in your community today who are delivering business support, make sure you keep in touch with them and find out from them, when are these programs finishing, what's coming next. Just make sure that you make the most of them while they're there. There's loads of information on the FSB website. As I've mentioned, I've got lots of online events, and we've also got face-to-face events which may be in your local area. You can contact FSB's customer services, and then there are area managers like myself all over the UK. We would like to wish you the very best of luck with your business here in the UK, and I hope this webinar will help you find some business support which makes a difference to you. Just remember, you're not alone, and there is a lot out there and people who want you to do well. We'd love to see you out and about in our business communities. Hopefully, we'll see you again soon.